Hi Flosstube. I'm Chris the Camping Stitcher, and I am back with episode 24. Today is Saturday, March 18th, 2023. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you had a good 2 weeks worth of stitchy time. I'll adjust myself here. Hope you were able to skirt that storm that just came through last week. We were supposed to get it, and we actually didn't. But that's just because apparently New Jersey is in the Bermuda Triangle of jerky weather forecasts this year. So, but can't complain really. We did have a delayed opening on Tuesday. It did snow, but it got real windy. And I know that some people up north of us really got hit with that storm, and I hope you're all safe and sound and hope it's starting to thaw by you. I don't think we're done yet. I hope we are, but I wish March would make up its mind. In like a lion, out like a lion, and like a lamb, whatever. It's not, it's just something. But, so what have I been up to? I've done a lot of stitching. Had some new starts, had some finishes. Life. You might hear my dryer in the background because my husband was able to finally fix it this morning. We had to replace like the heating coil and the rollers and the belt and all that other. I mean, he was going in to fix it because it was making noise and not drying. So he might as well fix everything instead of, taking it apart when you fix something and something else goes. So he was able to fix that, and thank goodness he's so handy and he can do things like that. And then I came in my room to just cut some floss drops on my Cricut, and my Cricut had the red light of doom, apparently. I didn't know there was a thing until it happened. So, yeah, that's what's been going on. So stitching, yeah, it's the thing that keeps me calm. But really, I did call. It's 3 years old. I got it right at the start of COVID, and I've used it a heck of a lot, and I called Cricut just to make sure because I wanted to know if I really needed to replace it or just, fiddle around with it, press some buttons and stuff. And they were like, no, try this. Try this. Okay, sounds like, it's dead. So they gave me a coupon. It helped, but I use it, so I wanted to replace it. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Hopefully the new one that comes won't have a 3-year shelf life, because that would be really stinky. Anyway, so I've got some FOs. I've got an FFO. I have a quilty, almost finished type of thing, and some plans and some new starts and some announcements. I did have a video I put up last weekend on how to make a quick down and dirty little pillow finish, and I hope it helped. I know a few people made some pillows and they seem to get some help out of the video. I did have a question. Somebody asked me at one point in the video, I was sewing the bottom seam shut, and they asked me why I took a bite of each side instead of just going through it once. I don't use a whip stitch to finish a seam that's going to show. I do whip stitching when I'm doing my English paper piecing because I'm doing that on the underside of the hexies, and that won't show. When I'm doing a seam that's going to show, or because you may not put something over it, I tend to use, I think it's called a blind stitch. It was something my mother-in-law taught me. I guess it's very similar to how you applique, so that when you take a stitch from one side and go across and take a stitch from the other side, it actually hides the thread. So that's why I do it that way. It was the way I was taught. So it's do what you are used to doing. And if you're going to put a piece of trim on that seam, it doesn't matter how you stitch it shut. I mean, you can even take it over to the machine and go right over it. It's really up to you. Let me shut that off because I don't know what's happening. Anyway, that was a question I had on the little pillow finish video I put up last weekend. So let's get on to my FO. I had decided that there's a sale going around. Kathy Walker from Two Needles Pulling Thread and Alicia from the Fanciful Flamingo got together, and they're doing the All the Bees sale. And I started Hive Rules, which is another group on Facebook, PCS Hive Rules. But you can overlap these sales and stitch-alongs. And I felt like challenge accepted. So I went through my patterns because I have quite a few bee patterns, and I actually ordered more. But I don't really have in between decorations for summer, late spring. I have patriotic, and I have little bit of Easter, not a lot. I have to really kind of get some of that going too. But I don't really have anything in between. So Teresa Kogut had put this out on her Patreon for February. It's Home Sweet Home. And it's not that big. The stitch count on it is 89 by 115. I used all DMC for it. There are two fancy floss in there, but I didn't have them, and I wasn't going to fuss over trying to find them. And I started it, and I finished it. And that's how it turned out. I used 36 count Rustic Drab by XJU Designs, or XJU Designs. I don't know how you say it. Still don't know how. But I just love this. This is so cute. I did change a couple of the colors in here. I didn't care for the lighter color that she called for in two of these stripes, so I just kept it with the brown. And I did move the entrance to the bee scap. It was off center, and this is such a symmetrical design that I just kind of moved it over to be in the center of the scap. So I don't know if that was on purpose or what, but I noticed it and moved it. But I just love it. The bees flying around. Those bees up there. It's such a quick stitch. It really is a quick stitch. And what I think made it quick for me was I outlined everything. I outlined the flowers. I outlined the bee scap. I outlined the little pots. And then when I was chatting with Nancy, the disorderly stitcher, or watching some Flosstube, I could just mindlessly fill in. Now, I'm not going to say I didn't have a stitching related injury because I've been apparently holding, don't mind that, that's just a beanbag. I've been apparently holding my hoop in a really odd, jerky fashion. So I've aggravated probably we don't want to say the carpal tunnel, I don't know. But I aggravated it and inflamed it. So I have to just be careful how I hold my stuff. I just do such weird things with my hands sometimes when I'm holding things. I don't know why. I don't think I'm ever going to stop, but I got to just be conscious of my body positioning, my hand positioning, and, take more breaks. But I've got that done, and I think I'm going to, I really would have loved to find some kind of little bee scap flat finish to put it on, but I think what I'm going to do is I have a little tobacco basket, and I think I'm going to just spray paint that. It's like almost 50 degrees today. Wacky weather. And I have some honeycomb fabric, and I think I'll back it and stick it on that little tobacco basket and call it done. But we'll see. So that's my FO. And I have two fully finished things. This is made just in time, fully finished just in time for St. Patrick's Day, which was yesterday. And this is a Primrose Cottage Stitches design. It is on a scrap of 36 count something. I don't remember what it was. And I used all the called for DMC in this. And I just did it a little shamrock and a little Celtic key. And I finished it with some Hobby Lobby fabric and put my iron-on sticker from Ever Emblem, which I love, And that was pretty quick. I didn't even interface this. Sometimes I put interfacing on, usually when they're lighter, but it's going to be out for so short a time, and I'm not worried about the stitching coming out, so there she is. And then the other fully finished I had was, I didn't even know I had this pattern. I was just looking for some spring stuff to do, and Jessica Sweetwater Stitcher and Nicole from Nicole Spore are doing the Stitch Along the Rabbit and the Rose. And I was just going through some of my smalls patterns, and I happen to have it. See, there is a reason why we stash. So I just love Brenda Gervais patterns. I had a little scrap of 36 count vintage pecan butter by Lakeside Linens. I had gotten that a couple of years ago, and when I went to visit Stitches Unlimited in Pennsylvania, and I used all the cold fur colors. So the only change I remember making is the tail. I did not have the whisper thread. I wasn't going to order the whisper thread. I wanted to get this done. So I just did it in ecru, and I'm happy with it. Cutest little bunny. And Brenda Gervais, she just has this amazing knack of making something that looks so complicated, but it's not. It's just well done. And I just lined it in some, I backed it in some Blackbird Designs Threads That Bind fabric. I had gotten the fat quarter pack of that, and I liked it because it had the roses, and again, my iron on label, and that was done, finished. I could put that out in my Hoosier cabinet for spring, Easter. I should probably stitch some more springish, rabbity. I do have another rabbit to stitch, but I want to start all the things, and all my market stuff isn't here yet, so that's going to be a problem when it comes. So I actually have notes like I do every week, but I never look at them. So those are my finishes and FFOs. So if you want, check out the group PCS Hive Rules. That's for the Hive Rules chart by Primrose Cottage. I showed that to you guys last time. And the other hashtag is All the Bees Sal. And you can use that hashtag on Instagram. So what's next? Oh, my whips. Okay, so my whips this month for Whip Go, I'm done with that. And the numbers were 2 and 22 that were called. And my 2 is, can't read it, Hawk Run Hollow. And I worked on that 4 times. And my 22 was the Maker and the Mender, and that's already an FFO. So, yay me. But I did work on Hawk Run Hollow. And I'm going to show you this because I have to finish the second block, and I will finish it. That is one of my goals, is to finish the second block before the next Hawk Run Hollow Zoom in April, because we just had it. So there's my second block. There's the first one. And this is the block with the Reverend Isaiah, and this is the church. These are the trees with the weeping willows. So I honestly think that I'm not going to put in the Reverend Isaiah. I think I might do something else there instead and make it my own. Because I know that was spelt wrong, and I know you can squish it in, and you can get it the correct spelling, but I don't know. I think I kind of want to do something different there, and I don't know what. So if you have any ideas, put them in the comments. Let me know what you did there. But that block, no joke, full coverage. I mean, it just feels like it's taking forever. That's 40 count. Hawk Run Hollow. It's 40 count, it's 40 count latte, which I think is a spy cart. I just wrote latte down, and it was before I was taking very good notes, so, which is not hard to work on. I do use the good light, and once your eyes get used to it, it's really not that much harder than 36, unless you're using Picture This Plus, which is a lie. But anyway, and surprisingly, I know I had snow twice, and I didn't take out my snow day stitch, so I'm just over it. I'm over you're gonna get snow. No, you're not. What a lie. Snow day. No, you're not. Anyway, that was one of my whips. The next whip that you've seen probably before that I've been working on is the Winter Sampler. And this is a sal that I'm doing with Stitchy Linda on Instagram. And I am determined to get this house done. So I've been working on it, so I've got the whole top border done. I've got both snowmen, the owls. I've got this side with the cardinal and the bushes with the blue flowers. And I'm working on the house now. And I'm determined to get that house done. So, and then I think once that house is done, there's quite a bit at the bottom, but it's not as, houses take a lot, I believe. And that is, I'm really enjoying that. That is by Crochetta Go-Go. And it is on 36 count Desert Taipan by Fox and Rabbit. One of my favorite linen dyers ever. Between Fox and Rabbit and Needle and Flax and X-Jude. I could just be happy forever if I had a couple bolts of that. Their stuff is wonderful. So I did have some new starts, and one of them was, I showed you in the last video, I had gotten the pattern for the Brick House Sampler, Brenda Gervais, and I decided to start it. And I have a very small start. There's just an A and a B and a tree. And this, I left the label on it because I you know what, I don't cut my material until I know I like how it's going, because I've done that and then I've ruined a potentially nice piece of fabric for something else. So this is Fox and Rabbit 36 count white clay. It is awesome. This fabric is really pretty. So that was one new start that I'll omit to. And the other was just on the 15th, Teresa Kogut released her next stitch along for her tier 4 whimsies on her Patreon. Now Patreon, if you don't know, it's a subscription. You get a subscription. It's a site where artists and creators give you the opportunity to see things that they don't just generally put out, say like on YouTube or on a website. You pay a price to get this information or these releases. So she does, I think it's 4 levels, and the top one is tier 4, and it's $20. So you get, for that price, you get 3 cross stitch patterns and coloring pages, and she throws in extras. Like we got a little advanced copy of the linen and flax, I think, that she put out for market. She put out she'll put out charts for reaching milestones and little things here and there, but it's well worth it. And so the Home Sweet Home was part of her Patreon, and this is the newest mystery sal, and there's really not much to see here, folks. But I started this when Nancy and I were chatting the other night, and this is going to be called The Simple Life, and there are 2 of my stars. And this is on 36 count overcast by Cedar River Linens. Gorgeous material. Oh, I'll add that to the list. I'll have a bolt of that, please. But really pretty. Really, I think these are the colors. Yes. Yes. So those are the colors that will be in it. So, I mean, I don't know anywhere else that you can get three charts a month for $20. So, plus lots of other stuff. So those are my 2 new starts. I am contemplating, I guess I can be talked into it, because every time we meet for our monthly Hawk Run Hollow Zooms, which Pam from Stitching New England does, I always kick myself when I bring out this Village of Hawk Run Hollow and say I should have started maps. I should have started maps. I should have started maps first because I really love maps. Why didn't I start maps first? I might just start maps because I've gotten a lot of encouragement every time I say that. Why don't you just start it? I know it's living here. It's either in the boxes and the floss is on the tree, or it's together. So why not? Nancy, are you listening? Should we start Map of Hawk Run Hollow? I'm not going to do it in the silks. It would probably be the DMC, unless I went ahead and checked out Vicki Clayton's site for a silk pack. I don't know. We'll see. I have some haul. And I just had to buy a new Cricut. So, just really not thrilled about that. Anyway, those are my whips and new starts. What else is going on? Oh, so just a little announcement in between everything. The next featured designer Stitch Night is going to be on March 28th. It is going to be from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the links for it will be in my group, The Camping Stitcher on Facebook, and Nancy's Facebook group, The Disorderly Stitcher. I'll also post it on Instagram, but I won't post the links on Instagram. I've had a few people request that aren't on Facebook. And if you private message me, we'll work that out. Me or Nancy. I mean, we'll both have the information to hand out to you. But the last one was a really nice time. We had a lot of people participate. I've had a really big influx of new members in the Facebook group. So I just will say, I don't anticipate this is going to be a problem because I don't think it's going to be a problem. But I have a regular pro Zoom account, so it is limited to 100 people. So if we ever get to the point where we exceed that, we'll have to figure it out. But we didn't have that much. We had under 30 last time. So it's just going to be, we're going to feature a designer each month. This month I put a poll up in the group, and it was between Plum Street and Teresa Kogut. Plum Street is what we're going to be doing in March, and I'll put Teresa in for April. Everybody's really happy because they knew that they were going to get, they were just picking what came next. It wasn't going to either or. So it's a nice chance for us to sit and stitch our Plum Street samplers, whatever you're working on, show and tell, whatever you finished or FFO'd. Like I have I think it was my first big piece was a Plum Street. It was Liberty's Welcome. Talk about Plum Streets that you want to get, and if you're not stitching a Plum Street, you're still welcome to stitch with us. It's a perfect opportunity for you to see what others are making. So, by all means, don't feel that you have to be stitching a Plum Street. We had quite a few people last month. It was Hands Across the Sea, and we had quite a few people that were not stitching Hands Across the Sea, and they still were participating in it. So it is welcome for all, but we're just going to feature a designer each month, and that went really well. The other thing that's coming up is the next weekend 4x4. will be April 1st and 2nd, the weekend of April 1st and 2nd. So I will be announcing that in the Facebook group and on Instagram. And that's just a stitching challenge. You take 4 hours for yourself and spend it however you want. Stitch, cross stitch, crochet, quilt, whatever you like. Just take at least 4 hours on that weekend for yourself. And that's what that's about. Okay. So anyway, I really appreciate you guys sticking with me. I feel a little out of sorts today. But it's been a morning of dryer repair and kicking my cricket around the room. My plans. Oh, wait. Well, I could do plans, but let's do haul because I have some of that. Here's my haul basket. And as a matter of fact, one of my pieces of haul is a basket. But I did get one of my pre-orders, and I did have some other things come in. So the other things were, I ordered Lucy Barber from Traditional Stitches. This took quite a few weeks to get to me, but holy cow, sorry for the glare. But oh, those reds, man, they are gorgeous. This I might actually, I'm really seriously, I think I want to do this in Vicki Clayton silks. So there's that. And then because Missy has been showing this, Missy of Two Needles Pulling Thread. Okay, Missy, you've enabled me. The blue flower, the color of winter. I just love that saying. The color of springtime is in the flowers. The color of winter is in the imagination. And it sure has been this year. In light of the bee challenge out there that I have accepted, I have 2 more charts from Primrose Cottage, Kind Words, which I think this might be a new start this weekend, and ABC. Now, I will admit that I have ordered the other bee chart that says I'd rather be stitching. That's on its way from Colorado Cross Stitcher. Good Lord. And I still have a whole bunch of Brenda Gervais market releases that haven't shipped yet. So, all in good time. But I did get my market releases from the Shepherd's Needle. And the Blackbirds, all of them were ordered. United We Stand. And Birds of a Feather, because when they re-release something, and I know they have a new booklet out about cartouches, so I just love it. So pretty. And then I did get to the Stacy Nashes, which I can't wait to start. There is the Big Blue House Pinky. Oh, trying light. And then the controversial. It's okay. She's fixing it. She's made arrangements for all the shopkeepers to send out the correctly printed pattern. I think it's going from a 2-page pattern to a 4-page pattern. If you have gotten one of the first ones, the first printings, just contact your shop owner and they'll figure it out for you. That's what I've been told. That's what I've heard. That's what I've done. Sorry to go off screen like that. No biggie. So, my plans. That's where we were before I was rudely interrupted by my haul. I am going to finish that second block on Hawk Run Hollow. And I am going to get the house done on the winter sampler. And possibly frame the 2 pieces I have waiting. I have 2 more frames from that order of 7. And I want to get them. One of them is God Bless America. And the other one is Sarah Spencer from Hands Across the Sea. Those are the 2 things I have to frame. And possibly starting Nancy. Hawk Run Hollow, the maps of. And that's all I've got about that. My sals that I'm doing right now are the Winter Sampler Sal with Stitchy Linda, the All the Bees Sal with Kathy Walker and Alicia. Kathy Walker from Two Needles Pulling Thread and Alicia from the Fanciful Flamingo. And I am participating in the High Rules. Denise is running that group on Facebook, PCS High Rules. So check it out. My playlist the last 2 weeks, people I've been watching on Flosstube, other than, you know, my usuals. I've been really enjoying Olivia of Pumpkin Hollow Quilts and Annie Bees and her girls. Also Teresa, the Garden Goose Stitcher, and Stitching Scotty, Dottie, Stitching Scotty. She's awesome. I love listening to her, and I love her sense of humor, and she stitches some really beautiful things. So check them out. I'm sure you've heard of them, but if you haven't, I'm happy to help. I really don't have an I Wish segment this week. I know I got a lot of feedback from last week, and I still wish Ginger would start a Flosstube. She says she's too shy. But do it without, I mean, I know people do it with just showing their work, and they don't ever show themselves. So that's an option, Ginger. But anyway, I don't really have a wish except for things to stop breaking in my house. That would be really nice. I know it's not the biggest world problem that we could have, but it seems like we're in that cycle, you know? How you're just afraid to even say something? You know, like the first time I said the dryer was going, I said, I think there's something up with the dryer. But I don't want to say what it is. And it turned out to be breaking. So, anyway, I just don't really have, and what else could I ask for? I have all this stitchy goodness around me and all these stitchy friends, so. So now's the part where I'm going to tell you a campfire story. So if you are not interested in that, thank you for sticking with me. I'll see you next time, and I appreciate you watching. But I had such a big response from last Campfire Stories bear story. I was going to tell probably my biggest bear encounter ever. We've had a couple of times here in the beautiful Northwest New Jersey. We've had mama bears with more than 2 cubs. We've had 3. We have 4. We had a couple of times mamas with 4 cubs. This year we had a mama with 5. And the 5th one was pretty small, and I don't think that it survived, but because we haven't seen mama with 5 anymore. But one year we had a mama with 4 cubs, and she made herself, you know, really present in the neighborhood. I know my husband had messaged me one morning at work with a picture of her at the cafe in our driveway, which we normally call a garbage can, with her 4 cubs at 11 o'clock in the morning. My youngest son was taking his road test, and we needed to borrow our neighbor's car because you have to have a specific car that the tester can stick his foot through, so you can't have a center console, blah, blah, blah. We didn't have a car like that. My neighbor was kind enough to let us borrow her car. Literally, she's 2 doors down from me. Now, it's not like right next door, and our houses are not close together, but it's like a few minute walk up the road. So we walked over there that morning, picked up the car, and we went for the test, came home. We were dropping the car off, and my son and I were standing in her driveway, and her driveway is set way back from the road, and she's got a line of cherry trees lining on the right side of the driveway, and a stone wall on the left side of the driveway. So we came out of the house, and we were headed down the driveway to the road, and this black thing drops out of one of the cherry trees. And I said to my son, my kids say I always do this. I said, wow, that is a huge cat. I'm thinking it's a house cat. And my son looks at me, he's like, Mom, that's not a cat. That's a cub. Now I knew that. Like, of course it wasn't a cat. But I kind of like reached down and I grabbed his arm because out of the left corner of my eye, I see cub number 2 come over the wall, cub number 3 come over the wall, cub number 4 come over the wall, and then Mama came over the wall. And I just, you're not supposed to run. You're supposed to just make yourself bigger. I know all these things that you're supposed to do. I had a hold of my son's arm, and I just like looked at him for a minute. Mama was walking down the driveway, kind of. She was facing that way. And suddenly she just turned around so fast on her 2 back legs and boop, 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 targeted us. And I looked at him and I said, get in the house. And we did. We ran because we were close. We were very close to the house. I heard my neighbor scream because she saw what happened. So Mama charged us and we ran into the house. And my neighbor had to drive us home, and which is ridiculous because it was like a 5-minute walk. And yeah, that was the time I got charged in my neighbor's driveway by a mama bear. I don't blame her. I mean, how does she know what we were going to do to her cubs? But it's a little off-putting when you can't walk to your own house because of that. But they were here first. We've had, I could tell you like tons of stories. We've had bear on the front porch. We've had bear on the back porch. We've had bear prints on our sliding glass window. They're here. We try to be responsible. Fish and Game puts out things that you should and shouldn't do. It's coming on spring, and they don't really hibernate, hard hibernation here, I think. My husband tells me they just go sleep on the ground or something. I don't know. But we put our garbage cans in the garage. I mean, we don't leave anything out there, but you kind of don't know when they're going to start coming around. It's not like they set a date. It's not like, oh, it's the first day of spring, bears will come and put your garbage cans away. It's usually you'll see like everybody's garbage cans get into, or I'll be coming home from work and I have a big staircase that goes up to my front door, and I'll hit the top landing and there was a bear looking at me the one day when I came home from work. So yeah, they're just pretty close. Nothing, I like where we live. It's neat having those stories to tell. But that's my big bear story. So that's it for this week, I think. The only thing is I didn't show you my quilt, which I'll save for next time because I have more work to do on it. And that's about it. That's all she wrote. We're almost 40 minutes in. This is going to be a quick one. And I will be back in 2 weeks. And then April 15th is my Flosstube anniversary. So I'm thinking of doing some kind of thank you for that. For you guys sticking with me and subscribing and liking. I really appreciate it. Appreciate your comments. You're always so kind. You're always so thoughtful. You're always so appreciative, and you put up with my jibber jabber. So thank you so much. I will see you in 2 weeks, and stitch away. Bye.